So let's take a look at an example. This is switch 1, switch 2, and switch 3, very much like what we have set up in our lab environment. And when I do a show span, or rather show spanning tree, that's just the abbreviated version of it here, I can see that for VLAN 1, we have a root ID with a priority of 32768 and an address that ends in 5480. Now, if you look down below that in the section where it says bridge ID, it says that our bridge ID is 32769 and our address is 5480. So if that is our bridge ID and the root ID has the same MAC address as us, then that must mean that we're the root bridge. So the root ID is who the root is, the bridge ID is me. And in this case, they just happen to be the same. Now, when we look down at the interfaces, gig01 and gig02, you can see that both of these are in the port role called designated. Now, remember what I said, all ports on the root bridge are designated forwarding ports. And under the status column, you can see that these ports are forwarding. This election of the root bridge, this all happens with those BPDUs. Those BPDUs are sent based on the hello time, which you can see up underneath the root ID there. That time is every 2 seconds. Now you do have a max age and a forwarding delay, and that deals with the state of the port. So we can go from a blocking to a listening to a learning to a forwarding status, which these ports here are in the forwarding status. And as we go through that process, it can take us up to 50 seconds around in that range there. Basically, it's the forward delay twice and the max age timer once, which equals that 50-second interval. So it takes a little time to converge a port into that forwarding status, if that is in fact the status that it's going to be in. It could be a blocked port if we determine that it's not part of the spanning tree and it's not the best path back to the root and it's not a designated port. So that's what we're looking at here, and this is the command that we would use typically to verify spanning tree. Now we could be a little more specific and we could plug in the VLAN ID there, but in this case we didn't do that because all we cared to look at was VLAN 1. We don't have anything else running on the switch in this example.